an account on the facilities healthcare user portal. And this is going to be for any new applicants, any returning licensees, anyone who wishes to submit any application of any type. The first thing you have to do is establish an account here in the user portal. So I'm going to, behave as though I've not done that yet. So here is the user portal. Of course, if I already have a username and password, if I've already got my credentials established, I can just go ahead and enter those and log in. If I have forgotten my password, I can click here and go through that process to reset. If I've forgotten my username, I can go through that process so that I can retrieve my username. But for the sake of this, I'm going to create new account. All right, simple enough. So I'm going to put a few of my own credentials here. I'll do Christopher Tate Test. Tate Test. All right. And I'll just create my user. Go to, I think I've already established Tate Test 1, so I'll go Chris Tate Test 2 as my username. I'm going to use my dc.gov email here because I'm going to be receiving email notifications once I complete these applications. So I want them to go to an email address that I can actually show you what those email notifications look like. All right, so as we go through the password, what's going to happen, and I'm just going to start typing some characters, you'll start seeing some notifications up here. First of all, password's got to be at least 10 characters long. Okay, so I'll just type some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'll do that again. You're going to see if that password does not match. It's going to tell you. And not only that, I'm going to type in some other one. I just want to show you all these prompts that you might see really quickly. I want to show you what the message is when you do have it matching, and it is at least 10 characters. You've got to have at least one capital letter, got to be a number. It's got to be one of these special characters as suggested here, as shown here. So again, when an applicant is trying to establish an account, they're going to want to make sure that the password meets all of these credentials or all of these criteria. So careful. Let's see. Let's do it this way. And we're in. So once I've entered my credentials as appropriate, here I am. Okay, it's telling me that I've successfully created a profile. And if I click this portal homepage button, it's just going to take me to the homepage. All right, so now I've got to re-enter those credentials. But what I'll do, if I may, I'm going to cheat just a bit. Go into Salesforce, and I'm going to enter it from the back end because I've already got an established login. So here is what happens. Here's what you get once you enter your credentials that you've created. This is the home screen. You can see here, you can go create a new application. If you've already created applications, you want to check the status, you can do that. And then on the support tab, if you happen to have an issue of any kind, you can click on this and create a support ticket. Over to the far right, you can take a look at your profile. You can make changes to your password and so on and so forth. So that's generally how one of these types of portals would look. But I just wanted to show you some of those buttons. Of course, here, what's the status of my application? This is another place where you can go to, again, check on the status of an application, of a previously submitted application. But for now, what I want to do is I want to go create a brand new application. I'll click that button. And where it takes us, excuse me, is this page. And you can see we've got an option to create an initial or an application for all 12 facility types, right? So once I select one of those, and for now, I'm going to select this one, community residential facility for the intellectually disabled. I'll scroll down here and I'll click this next button. Okay, so now we're at the facility subtype screen. You said you wanted to create a community residential application. Cool. Now, let's be specific. What's the subtype? You can go initial, you can create a renewal, you can create applications for changes if you want to change your address, name, so on and so forth. And you can do data verification. For now, I'm going to create an initial application and I'll click next. If I happen to say, you know what, I don't really want to create a community residential for intellectually disabled, I meant to click this one. And then I can go back and I can select the subtype there. So the previous button is very, very useful if we need it. So I will go initial, and then the next screen is a disclosure. So in this particular application type, we've got a disclosure in the same way that the paper applications work. There's a disclosure page that the applicant's going to see, just giving them some verbiage in terms of, hey, if you're going to operate a CRF in DC, you have to be licensed and you have to renew that license every 12 months, so on and so forth. Just some information to give to the applicant before they begin the application. We'll click the next button. And then this is where we'll actually go and enter data. So the first question you'll see here is the type of facility. And you'll see these arrows, and what that suggests is that this is a drop-down. It's a pick list where you can select one of the selections here. So I'll click select level 3, facility name. Let's go. DC. All right. So what you'll notice is that a lot of these are they're accompanied by an asterisk, and what that suggests, of course, is that this is a required field. So if the applicant tries to go forward, if they try to click next without filling in all of that required data, they're not going to be able to. And of course, the application is going to show all the different data fields that we must have data. So again, what we want to create ultimately is a situation where the applicant is, they're going to have to provide, as an applicant, you're going to have to provide all the data that's needed in order to process this application. So we'll go ahead and this out. Scope as we have. DC, zip code, and I will give it a phone number. And this is, of course, the facility information. Email. So you'll see you@example.com. This is simply given the criteria needed for an email address, or the criterion. So if someone tries to enter an email and it's not in this format, it's not going to go through. The applicant cannot go forward without putting an email address in this format. And then, of course, the after hours business number. I'll scroll. Now, is the mailing address different? And we've got some help text there basically saying, if the mailing address is indeed different, the applicant can check this box and we will have to supply that mailing address. For now, we'll just unclick that and we'll go forward as though the mailing address and the address that we provided above are the same. It's important to note that in this particular application, these are number fields, females and males, number of beds. If I try to put some alphabetical text in there, the system won't take it. So whenever there's numbers specified, we need to put numbers in the fields. Staff. Finally, do you provide 24-hour nursing care? Yes. All right, so now it appears that we've got all of our data entered as appropriate. I'll click Save and Next. Save and Next is important rather than just Next, because I'll go and hit the previous button. You'll see that the data that I entered is saved. As an applicant, I would much prefer not to have to re-enter this if I need to go back and change something. If I say, well, you know what, we actually have 75 rotating staff members instead of 50. I can go back and change that without having to change everything or without having to fill in all the information again. Next screen, licensee information. And this is simply the entity that's responsible for the conduct of the facility. Person. Say to I spell it. There we go. There. A little bit more mandatory information, the business owner's address. This zip code field does need to be 5 characters. If I try to enter 4 characters or 3 characters, I am not allowed or I'm not able to move forward. So this does indeed need to be 5 characters. Profit or nonprofit, we'll select profit, business type, sole proprietorship. All right. Have you previously operated or been licensed to operate a group home? No. If yes, was the license ever suspended or revoked? So some of these are contingent upon previous answers. If I do select yes, then the expectation will be that I provide an explanation. And this is a similar question. And in the applications themselves, there will be multiple questions like this that you will need to obviously select yes or no. And if some of it's I guess based upon the previous answer. So again, if I do select yes here, I need to provide documentation and or explanation to the facilities team. And there will be these upload and drop file boxes so that we can, as applicants, attach information. I'll illustrate that in a few, but we'll move forward right now. I think we got everything that we need to be able to go to the next screen. Save and next. Okay, so here is a screen that's asking for me, the applicant, to enter all data associated with the principals or the officers, be they CEOs, presidents, treasurers, or what have you. So I do that. And this is required. We do want to make sure as applicants that we're able to present to the facility team all the information with regards to our officers. Okay. You'll notice here there's a button that says add more principal or officers, right? So if I select this, when I go to the next screen, I'm going to have to do this again, right? I get an opportunity to enter data for each of my officers as needed. And you'll see here, number 1. So if I go forward, which I will, I've got this box selected. I want to add data for one more officer. What you'll see is the number 2. So what that tells me, the applicant, is that, hey, this is your 3rd officer. This is your 4th officer. Just in case I, need to keep track of it, I'll enter a little bit more data just for one more officer. No issues here. If I, as an applicant, want to use my dashes, that is acceptable as far as from format is concerned, no problems. Or I can just enter the 7 digits without it or 10 digits without it. Okay, so I'm not going to click this box here. If I were to click it again, of course, that's going to prompt me to enter data for a third officer. I'm going to leave that unchecked and then move on to the next screen. So I did enter data for 2 officers. If I needed to do 4, 5, 6, what have you, I would be able to do that. But again, we've got 2. We're okay. You do need to enter as an applicant. You must enter officer information for at least 1 individual. But you do not have to enter information for multiple. And of course, if you so desired, you click the box, and then it would allow you to do so. Here's some more facility staffing information. I've got to fill out some information for a resident director. And down here, the application is asking us to specify information for other staff members, if applicable. So the director of nursing, if there be one, primary care physicians, if there be any, and so on and so forth. These are not required. We don't have to enter that data. It's just if it's applicable. But the resident director information is necessary. So I will fill that information out. Here's another drop down for the prefix. And then the rest of the fields are just data fields, regular data fields. We have all the information I need there. Save and next. Oh, I don't have all the information. Check this out. I didn't enter an email address. So that's good. As an applicant, I need to make sure that I supply the facility team with all the pertinent data, inclusive of email addresses when required. So this is an example of a required field that I did not enter. Good. All right. There we have it. So now I've got all the pertinent data entered. This is a screen that's asking for insurance coverage. So I need to make sure, that I provide information for my hazard and liability insurance in this particular application. So I'm just going to enter State Farm here. This needs to be a numerical field. I'll put 300,000. We'll put 350,000 here. Why not? And this is just a field to provide additional data for professional liability. Just put my name here now. Okay. This question, does the facility have liability insurance? Well, we just entered the data specific to our liability insurance, but what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to supply some backup to that effect. As an applicant, I need to supply some documentation that shows my liability insurance. So what I can do here, I can do this a couple different ways. I can either drag the document over into or onto the button. Wait a minute, do I have it open? I might have it open. Yep, got it open. All right, let me try that again. It wouldn't allow me to upload the doc because I had it open, but now we're here. Click done, and they show you, or the system shows you what document you uploaded. Another way I can do it, I can click that button, and rather than dragging it over, I could just click the button and attach it this way. And I'll just drag one more. You'll notice that I've uploaded Word document, Excel sheet, and a PDF file. You can also do JPEGs and certain types of images and so on and so forth. If I happen to upload or attach a document that I did not mean to, let's say this isn't liability insurance documentation, this is a resume. I clicked the wrong file. I can just click it off and upload or attach again, no big deal. But now that I've attached those documents, oh, by the way, let me show you this too. Let's say I just chose not to upload anything, didn't attach any files. I can't move forward. With regards to this insurance documentation, I must upload or attach at least one document. Done that, so I'll move forward. Almost home. Okay, so here's the payment selection screen. Essentially what this is showing me as the applicant how much I must pay, right? So this is a number that I specified early on in the application. The payments are often associated directly with how many or you know what selections I made, like I said earlier in the application. So if I were to go back and I were to put a different number based on the fee structure, that might entail a different fee. But in this case, this automatically populates with the number that I selected in a previous screen. There's my fee. So I'm going to go clicking or saving next. And this is my payment wizard screen. This is where I'm going to actually submit my payment data. Let me show you something. There's a button that says pay $455. That's the $455 that we just saw on the previous screen. Let's say I forget or I decide I'm not going to pay. I click next and I can't move forward. So essentially what this screen is telling me is that no, you cannot submit this application until you've paid. Okay, noted. So I is going to go pay. All right. And for the card information, I'm going to use some fake data here for testing purposes. Now, this is an American Express card. I want to show you something really quickly. The CVV number for American Express cards is 4 digits. So watch what happens here when I just click 3. This box is red, meaning no, you need another digit. Okay. So in order to process payment, I have to, it's just like, I guess, any other payment mechanism for any other website. I've got to put the appropriate numbers. Same is true here. I've got 12/20/23 in this field. If I put 12/20/22, it's not going to let me go forward because, of course, we are beyond 12/22. So what that would suggest is that this card is expired. So I need to put an appropriate date there in order for the system to allow me to go through. So now that I've got all this information in, like we said, I must click pay. I have to actually process the payment before I can go to next. So I'll click pay $455. I'm going to get a transaction approved screen. Now I can move forward. And this is just my certified submit page, just me attesting that everything that I entered is true to the best of my knowledge. I put my name, the date pre-populates to today's date. Hit the submit button. And now I've successfully submitted my application. It's telling me as the applicant that it's done. Now it's in the approval process. And I will await as an applicant to hear back from the facilities team in terms of my approval. Or if there's something else that's needed from me, they'll let me know that as well. Once I hit the close button, it'll take me back to the home page. Let me go to my email really quickly, just to show you what that that looks like. Should be able to see the screen here, but nonetheless, I'll see the image. But this is just telling me thank you for your payment. So this is an email, a receipt of some sort saying that your payment did in fact go through. So here I am at the home screen, and if I happen to want to go back and take a look at that, I can click application history, and I've got a few applications that I've done here. I can see all of the applications that I've submitted with this login, with these credentials, and I can see that if I were to try to go back, I cannot edit any applications that are in the approval process. I can edit ones that I've gotten draft, but me as an applicant, I can view applications that are in the middle of the approval process, but I cannot edit them because, of course, once they're in the approval process, they're locked. So that is it for the initial application demo. I hope it's helpful. One more thing that I should have shown that I forgot to show. The user guides. We've got user guides for each of the 12 initial applications. These are very, very helpful and very, very well done. I'll just walk through a couple screens. What this does, it just goes and shows you screen by screen how to complete the application, essentially. Very good. These will also be posted on DC Health website, as will this video. Just additional resources to walk you along to make sure that you understand how to operate the system, how to process or complete each of the 12 initial application types. So that's a very useful tool. And that is all.